Okay, so let's begin. Can you tell me your full name, please?
My full name is, and you can call me by my given name, Wei.
Thank you, Wei. And can you tell me where you're from?
I'm from Anhui province, but now I'm living in Beijing, the capital city of China.
Now, Wei, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk about what you do. Do you work or are you a student?
I work as a software engineer. Yes, that's me.
And when did you decide to do this job?
I decided to do this job after graduation, and it's a job that I'm always dreaming for because it's so challenging, and I think it's a good way to get myself in the highly development of internet technology. Right.
And what do you not like about your work?
I guess sometimes the job, the work could be very onerous. I should really look carefully into the code that I wrote to make sure every bug has been expunged so that it can run smoothly. And so sometimes it's really hard and tough.
Now let's talk about taking a break. How often do you have a rest from your work?
Recently, I'm adopting a technique called Pomodoro clock. In other words, I study for about 20 minutes, then I take a rest for about 5 minutes. And it's a good way to get myself concentrated. And after a short break, and I could concentrate again on the work I'm doing.
And what do you like to do when you're having a rest?
Sometimes I just browse some news on the websites about international politics, or I just listen to some music to help me to relax or refresh.
Do you ever take a nap when you're having a rest?
No, I don't remember that because if I decide to take a nap, I think maybe 2 hours will easily pass, and that's not good. It's terrible.
And how do you feel after you've had a rest?
Usually, I just feel refreshed, and I just get recuperated so that I could continue my job.
Now, Wei, let's talk about museums. Have you been to many museums?
Not many, but I have been a few, such as National Museum here in Beijing, and some other provincial museums, like when I visited Shanxi province, I just went to their museum.
And what kind of museum do you find the most interesting?
Well, it's a good question, I guess. The most interesting museum to me is the museum that can display stuff and the things from different peoples around the world. Say, the last time I went to the National Museum, they had an exhibition about Cambodian customs and culture, and I found it really fascinating.
And Wei, would you prefer to visit a museum with other people or alone?
I'd rather visit museum with other people, especially someone who are really dedicated on this special area, like somebody who's majoring in Cambodian culture. I think it's a good idea to be with them so that I could learn more about this.
And Wei, would you like to work in a museum?
Yes, that's a good idea. If I choose to work in a museum, I can introduce the things that I love the most to the crowd, and that's very educational. I love it.
Now, Wei, I'm going to give you a topic, and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. And you have 1 minute to prepare, and you can make some notes if you want to. Do you understand?
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right. So Wei, I'm putting the topic in the chat box on your computer. Can you see it?
Yes.
Good. So the topic is, and you have 1 minute, as soon as I read the topic, your 1 minute preparation begins. I'd like you to describe a time you made a promise to someone.
Okay.
All right, Wei, can you start
Okay.
speaking now? Can you start speaking now, please?
Yes. Yesterday, I went to Beijing Wildlife Park with one of my friends, and it's vital to be to go to that together so that we could visit the park together. So, but we live in very different places here in Beijing. So I live in the northeast, while she lives in the right north. So I promised that I would get about 6 a.m. So that I would get to the park as early as possible. But unfortunately, I didn't keep my promise because I was so tired. And I even stayed up late the night before learning English until 2 o'clock a.m. So for sure, I didn't get up 6 o'clock. Instead, I got about 7 o'clock, and I took a shower and ate a quick breakfast, and then I took the subway to get to the place. I don't think it's a big deal because we're already familiar with each other. And she said before the day that she wouldn't get so early because she also needed some rest before the strenuous trip. So that wouldn't affect the relationship between us. That's quite casual occasion. But I think if it's a business occasion, say if we made appointment with an important customer, that wouldn't be feasible because we have to make sure that we're punctual. We keep a promise.
Thank you, Wei.
Okay, thank you.
Wei,
Thank you.
do you normally keep your promises?
It's a tricky question. I think it depends.
Okay.
If it is one of my good friends,
Thank you.
I don't really.
So now, Wei, thank you. And now I'd like to ask you a few more general questions about this.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the promises that children make. What are the kinds of promises that children make to their parents?
I think in China, the most thing that I heard about is the children promise that I'm going to do this homework by 9 p.m. But as a matter of fact, they often break their promise because they just so indulged in say TikTok or other computer games. So that happens a lot.
Who do you think is better at keeping promises, young people or older people?
In my to my way of thinking, I think old people keep the promises better because old people tend to be more even keeled. In other words, they really treasure their reputation because they're old. But for young people, a lot of young people just very not feel inclined to keep the promises.
And do you think this is a trend that is becoming worse?
Well, I don't think so because young people are now developing the concept, the consciousness of keeping promises because now we're doing a lot of business with foreign customers. So it is really crucial to keep promises and be punctual.
Do you think different cultures find keeping promises more important than other cultures?
Well, I strongly agree with this statement, because as in my stereotype, people from, say, German, they're very strict on time and strict on promises. Maybe it is related to their history or some culture, but in other places, it's not vital to keep the promises because they live a really slack lifestyle, or they just don't keep that seriously.
And Wei, what can we do to encourage other people to keep their promises?
I think it's better to put them in a cross-cultural communication, the context of cross-cultural communication, because when it comes to dealing with the people from other countries, well, it forces you not to be so lackadaisical or slack, but keep your promises and be punctual.
You know, Wei, some people think that people are born unable to keep their promises, whereas other people feel that they learn that. Which group do you agree with more?
I think as I'm not sure, but maybe I agree with those group who think that they born. I'm sorry.
So do you think people are born unreliable, or do you think they learn to become unreliable?
I'm sorry. Okay. I think it's an important technique to learn to be punctual or to keep the promises, because nobody was born to have any features, in my opinion. And it is education that culture people to become more cultivated or civilized. So education does that instead of something that natural.
Well, thank you very much, Wei. That is the end of the speaking test.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, goodbye.
Goodbye.
So let's look at some possible scores for this test. Now, looking at fluency, in part 1, the fluency is reasonably good. But when we get to part 2, we see a lot more hesitations and pauses coming in. And by part 3, we clearly see excessive pausing and hesitating. And this pushes the score down to under 7 for fluency. There's also not much speed variation. Now, to get a strong score for fluency and coherence, we do need to see evidence that you can speak faster and slower depending on the content. Finally, for fluency and coherence, the range of linkers is not really wide enough to justify a 7. When we come to vocabulary, there are some really good words here. However, there is clear evidence also of unnatural vocabulary, and this really pushes it down to the 6 to 7 range. Grammar is pretty well controlled here. This is one area which would reach the 7 level. And when we get to pronunciation, we have similar issues to what we had in fluency. There are words we just don't understand, and this can really limit the score. It can even push the score down to a 5. In this case, it's not frequent enough to push it down to a 5. But there are times when we can't understand the words. And most importantly, the hesitating and the pausing, especially in part 3, means we can't hear the natural pronunciation features of English, including intonation and stress. So again, pronunciation doesn't clearly reach the 7 level. Now, some general overall comments here. This test, under a 7, kind of in the 6.5 range. And the clear reason for this is the candidate is not prepared. Remember, you get scores for your level of performance, not your ability. And it's clear that this candidate actually has strong English. However, the candidate is not showing the English to the best of their ability. To fix this, obviously we keep saying structures. You've got to have clear structures that allow you to speak fluently and confidently. Also, the candidate needs to really practice the rhythms of English, the stress of English, and the intonation levels, so the candidate can really perform impressively. It's all about impressing the examiner with your great English and performance. So clearly you need help to prepare for a speaking test. It's not just about ability, it's totally about how you can communicate that ability in your performance. We can help you with that. We have structures for ideas, we have lots and lots of vocabulary, and we can really train you to demonstrate a wide range of linkers, wide range of vocabulary, both specific and general, and we can help you eliminate your grammar errors. But anyway, we've got courses, and our team is ready to help you. And don't worry if your English is not very good. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I hope that was useful. I look forward to seeing you in the future.